Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew, and today we are doing another figure comparison between two figures, kind of, that I've already reviewed already. The NECA King Kong versus the Mezco King Kong of Skull Island. Now, Mezco's take and NECA's take are completely different takes on Kong. One's based off the novelization, the other one is a purely original version of the big ape that NECA created on their own. So basically speaking, you might think that there's no reason to compare these because these are completely different incarnations of the character. One that doesn't even exist in real media outside of this figure, and the other one that's based on the book. That is honestly incorrect because people still think that this is honestly one of the biggest comparisons with King Kong figures. And so I want to kind of jab my knife in there and see what I think is the better figure. So we're going to be doing another 7-rounder, sculpt and paint, articulation, size, accessories, price, and availability, and packaging. So let's go ahead and break this fight down. Starting up with the sculpt and paint. Honestly, it's kind of a tough one. This is honestly probably the most difficult I've had to choose between detail job because on one hand, the NECA has a really nice kind of look to it. It looks like real fur. It looks really nice, and I like the dry brushing on it more than the Mezco is because the Mezco has very darker brown kind of application, while the NECA's is much more vibrant, which makes it much more pop-ish on the shelf, because that's what I like, my figures to pop more. But at the same time, Kong's fur on the Mezco looks a bit more shagged up. It looks more roughed up. That's kind of how I imagine Kong's fur to look like. NECA's honestly looks like it's clean, which kind of throws me off because he also has the slash marks here, which might I add, the slash marks look way better than they do on the Mezco. I mean, that might be because the Mezco's is scars rather than freshly open cut wounds, but it still kind of begs the question, like, I mean, maybe those might be wounds? I think those are honestly scars, but, you know, maybe I'm just comparing the wrong things, but it's still, honestly, I think the freshly cut open wounds look better on this one than the scars do on this one. I mean, I probably like my Kong's battle damage a little bit. The faces honestly look really nicely done on both of them. I will say that I like the more depth on this one, probably because it's a decal or painted on separately, then they put the face on over like a mask. Meanwhile, this one's just put pure application. But both of them actually share a lot of nice, like, sculpted details, and I like how this one just kind of fades out, like, almost like a haircut, you know. Also, looks like he's kind of grown a beard thanks to his shagged up fur. But the feet, kind of more or less the same thing. Seems like the Mezco has longer toes than NECA does. The Mezco doesn't have as long as arms as the... Hold on, wait, actually... Oh! Would you look at that? They're the exact same size. I did not know that. I literally have not realized that. Well, the beauty of live recording, ladies and gentlemen. So, overall, honestly, you know, your opinion might be overall subjective. I really have no idea. I think I'm going to give this point a tie. Because regardless of what you think, you have to agree that both figures do a fantastic job. Maybe not most in terms of accuracy, because let's be honest, they're hella stylized in comparison to what their source material was, despite this being an original creation and this one being based on the book. But they're so amazing. Like, I really would believe you if you told me that these were from the same figure line had they had the same posability. So that's its high point. And speaking of posability, let's talk about posability. Do you guys remember watching my original Mezco King Kong of Skull Island review of this guy? If you remember me saying that, I said that this guy's articulation felt like a NECA figure. Yeah, about that. Well, when I said that, originally I didn't have any other NECA King Kongs, And it was only this guy that took the title of most articulated Kong figure. Because his articulation is literally one-to-one of that with the NECA Godzilla. And if you don't believe me, aside from the neck and the tail, because Kong doesn't have a tail and he doesn't have as much of a predominant neck as Godzilla does, both of them feature almost the exact same posability. One at the head, one joint at the shoulders, one joint at the elbow, one joint at the wrists, one joint at the diaphragm, kind of waist, ankle crunch. Sorry. Ball joints at the hips, hinged knees, at the lower point of the knee, mind you, and ball jointed feet. You see why it feels like a NECA figure? Because these, for the longest time until I started getting these guys, were my first ever exposure to NECA. But you know what, enough rambling, let's go ahead and talk about it anyways. So yeah, barbell style ball joint here at the head. You can go up, down, side to side, tilt, kind of mild rotation. Doesn't have another joint here at the neck, like right here. Although I do feel like they could have put one there maybe. Swivel hinge shoulders. Very stiff, very tight, although the rotation's actually pretty damn good. Hinged elbows. Oh, crap. Hinged elbows. Almost kicked my camera stand over. Rotate it at the elbow. Ball jointed wrists. Let's see. Ball jointed ab crunch. There we go. Ab crunch, not ankle crunch. There we go. Kind of side to side and tilt. Ball jointed. Jeez, this guy's still so stiff even after all this time. I got this thing like what, last year? Back in 2020? Can't remember. Maybe it's 2021 actually. Swivel at kind of back and forth. Not as flew of a range as I'd like it to be, but still what it is. Crap, there goes Kong's head. Ball jointed. Hinge joint at the knees and swivel at the knees. And a ball jointed foot, which doesn't have too much range, but it is what it is. The NECA itself actually has a lot more range than the Mezco does. So the head can look a bit farther up, a bit farther down, and swivel side to side much more freely, and can kind of shift side to side more freely. Kind of the same style of joint, except it's a lot more fluid. Up and down at the shoulders, forward and back. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. Although do be mindful that they can snap. Hinged wrists that can also swivel. Ball jointed ab crunch, which, hold on. You might have heard that crack. That wasn't a crack, that was a click. We'll come back to that. Yeah, ball jointed ab crunch. If we raise up the shoulders, several clicks. And yeah, it's basically on a big ratchet joint. You can kind of swivel in and out of the socket, go forward and back with it. Double hinged knees and ball jointed hinged foot with a very awkwardly placed swivel that actually allows for some pretty damn nice good foot pivots. So overall, it's literally no contest when it comes to the articulation. Yeah, I said that this guy felt like a NECA figure, which was an absolute comment for its time, which when I reviewed it. But actually having the real NECA King Kong in hand, I mean, he's got articulation. He's got a lot of it. But he literally has, like, twice the amount of joints. Actually, how much do they have? Okay, so I count about, including double joints, 20 joints on this guy. Wait, was it 20 joints? I don't know. This guy has 14, so either way, he has more. So NECA wins. Round 3. That's 6 fingers on screen. 3, whatever you want to call it. Is size. This is obviously a winning round for one of them, but we'll talk about it. The NECA was designed... Hold on. Let's actually backtrack. The Mezco is 6 inches tall, while the NECA is 8 inches tall. The reason why they're this height, respectively, is because Mezco, again, likes to make 6-inch figures occasionally, And because of this, this scales well with any of your 6-inch Godzilla figures, which 9 times out of 10 you're going to be displaying it with, unless you want to display it like something like a T-Rex or something. And with the NECA Godzilla 2014, yep, they're sized about, I would say the same. Kong is definitely a bit too large for this scale, but because the accurate scaling would be a bit more down here, not like up here where they meet eye to eye. But this is a fair scaling. You want to make a stop motion with these two? Go right ahead. Display? Go right ahead. Collection? Go right ahead. And also just for more nostalgic figures, because I know some of you guys were born in this generation, here, like me, here's the NECA Godzilla, okay, Bandai Creation Godzilla 2000, or Bandai America Godzilla 2000, because apparently Bandai Creation is not a real thing, and my camera just went blurry for some reason. So as you guys can clearly see, he's going to be the better one to scale of the overall scale for 6-inch figures. The reason why they made this guy 8 inches tall, because that's a lot of people had, a question a lot of people had, even though it was literally in plain sight, is because this isn't actually its own figure line. It's actually part of NECA's, like, basically ultimate figure line, as shown by their 12 days of downloads countdown with the guide lists and stuff. Guidelines. No, guidelines. Style guides. Visual guide. Okay, you know what? Stop. You get what I'm talking about. He's part of that figure line, and as a result, he's 8 inches tall. Godzilla was never part of that scale because I don't think they ever had the license to make that scale or something. But yeah, essentially that's kind of what it is. Also, just to kind of trade figures in, because I know some people are going to ask for some Playmates. Here he is next to the Playmates Godzilla 2004, and again, he scales better with him, he does not. I know he can kind of finagle him, but then he doesn't really look well. However, there is one figure that I think in the 6-inch scale, he's a bit big in the 6-inch scale, but we consider him a part of the 6-inch scale, to be sized up appropriately with him. If you want a Godzilla figure that will stand head to head, shoulder to shoulder with your NECA Kong, it is going to be, I'm pretty sure you guys already know who this is, the NECA Godzilla 2003. Depending on what position you've got him in, he is the biggest NECA Godzilla, and even though he's a tad bit shorter, it's not by much. Like, really, you can kind of get him back facing, and boom, there you go. That's your Godzilla versus King Kong matchup from NECA. And, you know, you can really have these two go into town with one another. So, but realistically, he gets the point. Like, that's kind of obvious at this point. So, round 3 goes to the Mezco. So, round 4 is accessories. And let me just say, I know, there's other versions of Kong, but we'll just kind of go over it. I kind of keep mine in a bag, so do hope you guys don't mind. So, first, we're going to talk about the NECA. What kind of accessories does the NECA come with? Alternate head and 2 pairs of splayed hands. Or, well, I guess it's 1 pair of 2 splayed hands, so. You guys already have seen the review, most likely. I mean, judging from that view count. But yeah, that's all of his accessories. I know, there's more NECA King Kong figures out there, but we're reviewing the vanilla version of him versus the vanilla version of him. We're not comparing the exclusive versus the frickin' poster version, Skull Island, or whatever concrete jungle thing you want to say. But yeah, pop the joints off, pop the new ones in, and you're good to go. That's basically what it is. If you're having trouble, use a hair dryer. Now, for the Mezco. We get an alternate roaring head. Let's see, I think 2 pairs of fists. Yeah, 2 pairs of fists. A little grabby hand. A little figure of Andaro from King Kong, of course. And 2 pairs of chain shackles. And they're actually made of real chain, which is really nice. Nice attention to detail there, Mezco. That or your guys' budget just went way up. But yeah, that's basically what the Mezco comes with. And on sheer amount of accessories alone, yeah, Mezco wins this point because, I mean, to be fair, you're getting and Darrow more hands and freaking chain shackles. Yeah, its quality might be subjective on the heads, but that's not really saying enough. So Mezco wins the point.